we ready for the first speaker? Right, here we go. So our first speaker, we're in for an absolute treat, was a co-founder and co-founder and CMO of Jumpstart, which is known as the Danish Netflix for pictures. Really interesting, huh? He's a Danish serial entrepreneur and best-selling author, former badminton professional player, co-founder of 4 international startups, of which his recent one has been the most promising, has been named most promising AI startup by Forbes magazine. Talking about how to create the future Netflix, ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and give an incredible warm round of applause for Jonathan Liu.
Hello, Vilnius. Are you awake? I used to live 2 years in Silicon Valley in California, and it kind of feels like being back. Lots of young people, lots of talk about tech, also lots of hype, and then incredibly hot weather. Is it normally like this? No, it's good that we spend the day inside, right? Getting some fresh computer Wi-Fi into our bodies. And yes, I'm going to talk about Netflix in the future. For those of you who are entrepreneurs or dreaming about starting the next Netflix, hopefully I can give you some guidelines. Not that I have done it, but I have talked to the people that have done it. And I have a story I hope is worth sharing. But before I start talking, because I think the paradox of events like this is that we are a few people who get to stand up here and be the wise guys or women, and then all the brilliant people sitting down there just has to listen. So I'm sort of gonna swap this around and invite you to talk to one another. I know it sounds scary, but I'm sure that we can do it here in Lithuania too. And I'm gonna ask you to talk to each other about something that I'm then gonna talk about. And I'm gonna tell you very shortly about my childhood. These are my parents. It's true, it's not the actual ones, because they don't want me to use a photo of them, but they were looking like this when they had little Jonathan 40 years ago. So I have some childhood memories who made me who I am today. And I'm gonna invite you to talk together, 2 or 3 and 3, and then just very briefly share a fun childhood memory with each other, because a part of Login to me is getting to meet new people that you didn't know before, building a network. If you are a little scared and you don't know who should start first, let's just agree that the person with the least hair gets to speak first. So now you turn to one another, say hello, what is your name? If you know the person sitting next to you, you invite one more into the conversation, and then just share a brief, fun childhood memory. You'll get 3 or 4 minutes to do so. So now the whole room is your stage. Start talking. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna take back the word. I'm gonna give it to you later on. And it's nice that you just can't stop. I made two very interesting observations. One was a lot of people entering the room and thinking, damn, have I went the wrong place? I thought this was the room for keynotes. This is the room for dialogue. And then I saw some people panically grabbing their smartphones thinking, no way, I'm not going to be a part of this. This is human interaction. It's scary, it's awkward. And you're damn right it is. I think for future entrepreneurs, for innovators, for disruptors, we can do a lot with tech. But when I've met the most brilliant brains in the world, they were really good at this. Maybe they were introvert and they taught themselves to be like this, but whether you have to pitch your idea to an investor or you have an idea that you want to sell into your organization or you just want to meet the person that is going to help you out with your dream, you have to be good at getting away from the awkwardness and looking into the smartphone or not having the eye contact and then just relax and say, you're good enough as you are, and we are all pretty nervous. I mean, the hostess, wasn't she incredible before? A lot of energy, seems like the most confident person in the world. I know she was also pretty damn nervous before stepping up on this stage. What I learned in my childhood, I think because of these parents, were fuck all the rules, just be exactly like you are. It sounds like a cliche, but people have such a hard time being that today. But the people who are the most authentic are also the best leaders, the most successful entrepreneurs, and the ones that you want to be around. So, my childhood was all about curiosity. And now you're pretty young, so it's not that far away where you could look at a little insect and you could think, wow, isn't that amazing? Then you get to know the word, you get to know how it behaves, and then it sort of just becomes part of the background. But you also know that children are amazing because they are so curious. Those of you who have small children will know that they ask an average 73 questions a day. And most of them are existentialistic ones. So they will maybe ask you every week, what is the purpose of life? What happens when I die? And we wonder why parents get stressed. But that's the beauty of children. Then we grow up and we get older and we stop asking some of the questions that we need to ask to really make the future a better place. As it was said in the intro, and I have a video to document it, or sort of document it. I know it's really hard to believe that this sexy body was once a professional badminton player. I know the women are saying, no, come on, hot stuff, but the men are laughing. It's okay. I actually was. It was before Instagram. It was before you could post your six-pack. And if there are any badminton interested players, this is a video. This guy near you is my old training buddy. I come from a city in Denmark named Aarhus. His name was Peter Gade. And Peter later on became world champion in badminton. I didn't become world champion in badminton, but I was the best in Denmark, amongst the best in Europe. And what I sort of brought forward is, I think, the two core ingredients when we have to innovate, we have to be entrepreneurial in the future. And one is this mindset that when it hasn't been done, then of course you should go do it. You shouldn't be afraid to talk to this very important CEO or investor because he's just a human being like you. And then to become the best at this sport, it's like with entrepreneurship and innovation, you have to do it again and again and again. A serial entrepreneur is basically just a person who has done it again and again and again. Doesn't say anything about whether you were successful or not. It's just about doing it again. But what I realized is, if you are willing, like in badminton, to do the same stroke 100,000 times, your body will learn it, it will integrate it, and it will do it automatically. It's exactly the same with sales and digital marketing and networking. The first 50 times, you're pretty shit at it. But if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to be the curious child, you get better and better and better. And it was not written in my childhood story that I was then going to be an entrepreneur. It was more, I think, the playful kid who put on, not even a suit, this is as corporate as I dress. Normally, if I go to a venture capitalist meeting, I put on a suit just so they don't get stressed. So they see, okay, he's one of us. He also wants a return on investment. But it's basically how I normally dress. And then I realized first startup went bankrupt. Then I got to talk to an event called FailCon. It started in the US, and that you can only speak there if you have failed. Then I succeeded, and then I got to speak at TEDx. You can only speak at TEDx if you have succeeded with something. And then I'm here today, maybe because I have some of these trophies. They don't necessarily make you a better entrepreneur next time. It's also true that I have written some best-selling books. This is what I normally refer to as the placebo slide. You know, when you go to a doctor and you're prescribed some medicine, when the doctor says these pills will make you feel better, 50% is the doctor saying this will make you feel better. This slide is telling you, please listen up. There is some important shit coming up now. This guy is not a total rookie. You might be able to learn at least 2 or 3 things from him. I hope so. This is my company, my 5th company called JumpStory. Before I tell you guys how we are trying to innovate or disrupt, some will say, the visual industry, I'm gonna just show you how very simple our brain is, because we all have the same Stone Age brain. We don't think about it, but it's very primitive. So, I'm gonna show you a little video. In this little video, the guy is gonna say, he's gonna play a sound, and then he's gonna say some words. And you just have to listen to the sound to start off with. Are you ready? It's very low. It's really hard to hear the sound. Let's see if it works again. If not, we just skip it. Do you hear the sound? Then just enjoy the silence. Just 10 seconds. What he was gonna do, he was gonna play you guys an audio. When you hear the audio, it's just a lot of noise. Then he says the sound, then he says the words, I think Brexit is a really terrible idea. And then he replays the sound. And now your brain will pick up the noise as these exact words. You can go on YouTube and see it. And this is what happens. Every time we pick up knowledge or new information, we put it onto everything we experience in the future. Why are children so curious? Because they are still doubting whether they know everything and whether they are right. Then we become older and we start thinking, this is the way you do digital marketing, or this cannot be done, or they have done it better, why should we challenge them? And those are the dangerous thoughts. Those are the questions that will limit you from doing what you want. I felt some of those thoughts coming after one of my startups went bankrupt, and then I decided to do something radical. So I got on this plane. This is from the airport in Aarhus. Nothing is going to happen in this video except show you that I got on the plane. And then I went traveling for 2 years, and my purpose was I want to meet the 200 most inspiring entrepreneurs in the world. I want to ask them, how did you do it? I want to put it into some books, into words, and then I want to try to replicate it, because entrepreneurship is not something magical. It's actually something you can put on formula. Not the small decisions in everyday life, but the core ingredients on why people succeed and why they fail is always the same. So I traveled to all of these cities and more, and I met with people like Brian, who founded Airbnb, met with the founders of Netflix, met with Daniel, who founded Spotify, and I was so curious to understand, so if I want to build a company with this kind of scalable model, how am I going to do it, and how can I explain it to everyone else so they can do the same no matter what their passion is? Because for those of you who have a passion, that is beautiful. Try to live it out, because the beautiful thing about passion is that as human beings, we can put meaning into stuff that don't have meaning. So I have a friend, and he is passionate about sausages and producing the most amazing sausages in the world. And some of you are smiling, but I'm guessing whatever you guys are doing, other people will be smiling, and then I think, wow, why does he or she want to waste their life working on that? And just to make the mood even better, if we closed all the companies that you guys work in today, if we close them tomorrow, don't worry. The world will keep on functioning well just the same. Am I not a nice guy? Building up the atmosphere and the pride. But it's true, but the beautiful part is that if you find your passion, you will attribute meaning into these things. That was what those guys were so brilliant at. They said it's actually important that we build a new business model and service around movies or music online. And they made it spread. So this guy I know who is passionate about making the best sausage in the world, his wife says he gets up every morning at 6, he goes to bed every night at 10, and he thinks about nothing else than sausages. And his employee says we can see the sausages in his eyes. That's passion, that's entrepreneurship. So my question to them was, what is it apart from this passion that you guys do? Do any of you know this company? No. It was named the most promising company at disrupting movies and series online. What happened to them? Why didn't they succeed? Do any of you remember these guys? One guy? Were you the founder? No? That's good, because they went bankrupt. But they were named, those are the ones who are going to change the music industry digitally forever. Where are they today? And then I was curious, so how come these guys, you know Netflix, right? Yes? You know any of these companies, iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music? Yes. And what I realized when I talked to the founders and many other entrepreneurs and innovators was there was one thing. And my idea with doing such a speak is there's going so much amazing things on at Login in these 2 days. You will remember so little. So I just ask you to remember one thing and then hopefully some of the images. What they do is they are amazing at giving you what you don't know that you want. They are amazing at giving you what you don't know that you want. Spotify started going viral once they launched their Discover Weekly. Netflix. Netflix are not amazing for you guys because they have millions of TV series and movies. We always say, wow, it's so smart. They make a digital platform so they can have much more storage than in a physical store. No, that's not the reason. What they are amazing at is using machine learning and deep learning technologies to understand you so deeply that you'll keep subscribing and that you will feel they give you value. So the idea is not to have a lot of offerings, but to have the right one. And I'll explain you this number in a second. So, I grew up in a hippie household. I was a professional badminton player. I started some companies, some went well, some failed. I talked to 200 of the world's leading entrepreneurs. This was my learning journey that I'm trying to share with you today. And then, me and one of my very good private friends, Anders, we said we want to do what they're doing and then reinvent an industry. And we looked at the industries out there and we said, let's pick one that we know absolutely nothing about. Doesn't that sound like a brilliant starting point? Go after something you don't know anything about. And it's not entirely true. We know a lot about digital marketing, sales, business models, but we knew nothing about the photo industry. So we started looking at this photo industry. And this is not to badmouth our competitors, because they are way bigger than us. They have been in the market for 20, maybe 30 years. They hire thousands of people. they make billion-dollar turnover. I just did a search. It's the Danish version. Sorry about this. You'll understand just as much as I do when you speak Lithuanian about this example. But I went to Shutterstock and I searched for marketing. What do I want? I want the perfect image for my next LinkedIn post, for my next blog, for my next sales brochure. So what is the photo industry supposed to do for me? They're supposed to give me exactly what I want. So what do I get back? I get this search result, and they let me know that now I can choose between 9.5 million images on marketing. That is the same as going on to Netflix, searching for a thriller, and then they will just say, here is 9.5 million thrillers. We have absolutely no idea about who you are, but just go ahead and pick. If they did it like this, you will be instantly disappointed. You will take the first one, or you'll scroll the first 100 and just say, screw it, I'm gonna watch this one, and then it's gonna be like a B or C movie, and you'll hate it, and then you will unsubscribe. So that industry understands you, the image industry doesn't. So right now, in the image industry, there is so much choice. And digital business models in the future are going to win if they help you reduce the choice tremendously and do what you don't know that you actually want to do. So, does any of you remember this search engine? Yeah, you're almost too young, I think. So I'm 40. I'm not millennial. I'm a bit older, Generation X. We will remember it. It was the biggest search engine back then. Alta Vista. Just notice the design. I mean, it's pretty cool, right? And on top of this, when you search millions of web pages, and then you get millions of results back. There's no intelligence built in. Most of them are just ranked by letters. So you want to have a company name starting by A, because then you get a better rank on the search engine. That is how this industry works today. So the entrepreneurial tip is, look at industries that work like the music industry did 20 years ago. That was sort of our premise for starting Jump Story. What happened 20 years ago? Those of you who are old enough, we copied CDs, or we went to an illegal service called Napster. And Napster, the guy called Sean Parker, he didn't care. He just said, share music with each other, and people starting peer-to-peer sharing music. It went crazy and big until it was shut down because, minor detail, it was very illegal. But it disrupted the industry, and in came Spotify and iTunes and sort of solved the copyright problem. Right now, a lot of industries are there. So look at the industries out there and see who are at the Alta Vista stage. And we saw, well, the image industry is totally at the Alta Vista stage, but the market size is $50 billion a year. We want to take a chunk of that. Right now, our chunk is $0 billion. But we're live. We're in Denmark. We are in Poland. We are in Spain. We are launching in new countries almost every month. If there are either investors or entrepreneurial mindsets in here, please come to me afterwards. We want to go to Baltics. We want to launch in Lithuania. We want to launch in Latvia, Estonia. So if some of you have an entrepreneur and think this journey is interesting, or if you have capital and think you can make money on it, then just talk to me afterwards. Forbes like us. That's a good start. And what we look at is the customer journey. So how do we make that new and interesting for you guys? We look at images. So I just picked a random image of a monkey. What do you actually want? Do you know the theory called the job to be done theory? The job to be done is finding the right image. The job to be done is not just making a search engine with 250 million images. So you want to give some input, let them know what you're searching for. Maybe you have some goals for the image, and then you want to be able to make sure you pick the right one that creates results. When you're searching for visual content, you want to use it so it has an impact. Problem is, industry is not helping you with any of this. We are. We work with something called natural language generation. It's a technology within AI where we understand language. So the way that our platform works is that you just upload your text. So you've written a Word document or you have your PowerPoint. You put it up to JumpStory. It will look at your text and will say, this is about this topic, and you're trying to communicate these emotions to the person who is receiving it. So first thing is we help you understand what you're actually looking for. Right now the industry will tell you, write in a search word, and then you will write a red train. But you're not really looking for a red train. Maybe you're looking to communicate something about a journey or an experience. You're looking to communicate emotion. That's the first part they're not solving. The second one is, then you are looking for a horse. But maybe you want a horse that is moving, or maybe you want a more colorful horse. So we are building technology where you take this photo of a horse and you turn it into a moving image and you put on a layer, it's all done by AI, and you turn it into a zebra. The good thing about AI right now is that it's going from hype to everyday life. Amazon is so big because they're actually using AI to create value. And you can do anything with AI. You can also take the photo I showed you before, and you can put the zebra onto Putin. Yes. AI is becoming very, very realistic. So I'm going to give you a little quiz. Those are two photos. One is made by artificial intelligence and one is a real person. So one of these two people does not exist. And we're going to do it by a raise of hands. Who thinks that the guy without glasses exists in real life? Quite a lot of you. Who thinks that the guy with glasses exists in real life? Most of you. So Vilnius, you're good at spotting the right one. Let's try again if you're equally good with women. So the girl with the big smile on your left, who thinks that you can see her smile down in the old city in Vilnius? And who think you can meet the other woman? Okay, that's about 50-50. So this woman is the right one. How are we going to use this? The biggest problem in the image industry today is the GDPR rules. So a photographer has taken an image, but they have forgotten to ask the people on the photo. Or you go to Shutterstock and you see a photo of 5 Afro-Americans, but you want to use the photo for marketing in Lithuania. What do? Well, you put them into our algorithm, and we will then substitute the faces with people that look Lithuanian. And the good thing is you don't have to ask them for permission because they don't exist. This is 1 year from now. This is for us a nice way to create value for the users. This is in lawsuits and in legal stuff, scary technology where we need ethics. And I saw they were talking about ethics in there, so that is not my topic today. But we actually consider ethics quite a lot because you can use it in not very nice ways. Then we work closely with NVIDIA. They have made this really cool tool. Do you know the program Paint? So this guy is drawing on Paint and NVIDIA is transforming it in trying to guess what it is using something called GAN networks, and they're transforming it into a waterfall. So basically, to explain you what we're doing, we're helping people who sit on the computer waste tons of time finding images, giving inputs, using modern AI technology to make this journey much shorter, making sure that they don't have to choose between 9 million umbrellas. We help them pick the right one that will perform the way that they want it to perform. So this is the JumpStory vision and how we do it. If some of you are curious to know when we launch in Lithuania, we have made this small landing page. It's jumpstory.com. You can also go in there and sort of connect with me. You can also say, but yeah, it was interesting with your story, but I want to talk to the founder of Spotify instead, and then I can connect you. And then I want to sort of round it off where we started. So you each told each other a story from your childhood. Well, those of you who arrived a bit later have not done so. So after I finish talking, please talk to the person next to you and share a little childhood story. It feels so good, and you feel already you know them a little better. Why are children so amazing? Why have children turned into entrepreneurs that change the world? I think it's because of this one thing called curiosity. So I have brought this image. If you only, and I know in these #MeToo times, this is a sweet, symbolic example of how curious children are. It's not some sexist thing. Guys, we all know this is not what we are supposed to do. I know I have a Labrador, the dog named Esther, 2 years old. When I have a date coming to my house, when Esther does it, it's sweet. When I do it, it's kind of wrong. That's the benefit of being a child. The beautiful thing is that children always want to know more. They always think that there is a question that has yet to be asked. And when I talk to these 200 entrepreneurs, and I sort of try to find the ingredient on why are some of them building amazing digital business companies and why are others not, they all had this curiosity in common. They all had this idea that once it's hard, like in badminton, like in entrepreneurship, you keep going and you keep going. And then they all had an important problem to solve with a business approach that hasn't been used before. I want to finish off with a little video I put together, and it is about what happens when you combine the childish mindset and the questioning with the impact of doing entrepreneurship and innovation. And here we need sound again. Imagine the most awesome thing you can, like a time machine or an auto-grilled cheesemaker. Now imagine who is going to do it. Him, glasses there, whoever they are, or maybe her. But how do kids like these turn into people that do things like this? Maybe we should ask this guy, the inventor of the Rubik's Cube. What he says is, so normally in school you are teaching answers. You learn answers. Maybe in the future questions will become more important than answers. Maybe it's the big questions in life. Maybe it's like solving the Rubik's Cube. Maybe it's the hard stuff. So when the Wright brothers asked, can humans fly? When Thomas Edison said, how can you see in the dark? And when Rosalind Franklin asked, what is life made of? We made some of the most amazing discoveries that the world has yet seen. So everything comes down to experiment. And the people who are going to do this are the young people. It's people like you guys. It's people who dare to ask questions, who dare to be curious, and when you learn new stuff, then you act upon it. So you remember all of these things from school, from high school, where you did experiments, and you did them quickly and you did them rapidly, and when you become an adult and you work with entrepreneurship, you call it lean startup, you call it prototyping, you call it innovation, but it's basically the same. It's the idea that something in the world can be done better, smarter, wiser, and you take responsibility for doing it, and you work damn hard, and you ask questions, and you keep moving, and at some point you will invent something quite amazing. So those were the words. Thank you, Vilnius, for listening, and have a great event. Thank you.